by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And welcome to Manhattan, Kansas, the campus of Kansas State. Tonight, it's the Texas Longhorns taking on a K-State team that has lost 2 in a row. But boy, they are a tense group. Someone's going to have to let them lighten up. Obviously very bothered by the fact that they're trying to break their first losing streak of the season. Again, everyone, Bob Wischusen and Stephen Bardo, almost as loose as the K-State Wildcats. Thanks for spending part of your night with us. A little tension among the fans, though, here. Although all of the 4 losses that Kansas State has had this year would be considered quality losses in conference to Kansas and Iowa State, out of conference to Michigan and Gonzaga. So not a weak loss among that group, and yet you still think this is a group that has something to prove.
I do, because they want to be in the upper echelon of the Big 12 race, and you've got to take care of home court in that situation. Texas, on the other hand, just got their first conference victory. They're young enough to come in here with a little bit of confidence and steal a victory.
This is foreign territory, certainly, for the Longhorns, as they are 1-5 in the Big 12, and a big reason why they have not gotten to the line nearly as often as their opponents.
Yeah, Sheldon McClellan, Juice Lewis, they haven't attacked off the bounce. Cameron Ridley, Prince Ebay have not been stellar inside, and on the other side, Kansas State has gone to a 4-guard lineup, but their rebounding has struggled as a result.
Julian Lewis, 12 games in double figures. He's a key for Texas.
Yeah, Julian Lewis can do it all for this ball club, and he's going to have to tonight.
And center is the only position that Shane Southwell hasn't played for Kansas State.
Yeah, he is coming into his own in his junior season, really having a breakout performance.
So Kansas State ranks 18th in the country at 15-4 on the season overall, 4-2 in the Big 12. And Texas, as we said, below 500, not only overall, but also in conference. They finally beat Texas Tech on Saturday, decidedly, winning in Austin by 16 for their first conference win of the season. Rick Barnes has taken Texas to the NCAA tournament 14 straight years. So he is not used to looking up at the rest of the Big 12. We'll see how they respond tonight.
Watch for Texas to try to free Sheldon McClellan and Juice Lewis on those curls and get them into the 15-foot range, preferably elevating for their jumper inside the paint area.
Javon Felix gets a step, floats one on the baseline. That won't go, just a little too strong as he beat Angel Rodriguez off the bounce.
Jordan Enriquez, he's not going to get credited for a block, Bob, but he altered that shot. Just as effective.
This may be a low-scoring game. These are 2 teams that are 1-2 in the conference in opponents' points allowed, and neither is a real explosive offensive team either, as Rodney McGrudel will go to the free throw line. Julian Lewis called for the first foul. Rick Barnes in his 15th season at Texas, and as we said, 13 straight 20-win seasons, 14 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Bruce Weber in his first season at Kansas State, he was let go by Illinois. He was all set to go to the College of Charleston when all of a sudden K-State called and said, how about Manhattan? And he said, the Little Apple will suit me just fine. And he stays in a major conference, coming to a Power 6 league in the Big 12 to take over this program after Frank Martin left for South Carolina.
And Frank Martin left it, the cupboard's full. 4 returning starters. This is a group that seemed to really taken to Bruce Weber and his offensive creativity.
Lewis lost it on the way up.
Spradling looked like he got away with a foul right there.
Spradling, a little floater on the baseline, won't go, but a foul called underneath. And that will go against Rodney McGruder.
Well, Rick Barnes is working the officials early and often right now, trying to give his young team a chance in this hostile environment.
Well, he said he worked his team often and hard in practice this week. They went, as he described it, really hard on Monday, and by the time they were done with practice on Tuesday, all of a sudden some of his big guys, Cameron Ridley and Prince Ebay, said, oh, treatment. We got to go get treatment. Like right now, coach. Yeah, the trainers need us back in the training room. He said they couldn't get out of that practice gym fast enough at the end of the day on Tuesday. In transition, McGruder can't track down the kick-ahead pass from Spradling, so it's a K-State turnover.
But you notice in that sequence right there, K-State is really trying to pick up the intensity and the pressure. Javon Felix is going to have a long night if he can't break the pressure out front of Angel Rodriguez on ball.
McClellan's held by Magruder. That's his second. So now an early decision for Bruce Weber. And he will immediately go to the bench. So the #1 scorer in Big 12 games, Rodney Magruder, averaging 18.5 points per game in conference games, on the bench 2 minutes in.
Well, Sheldon McClellan, away from the shot right here, is trying to free himself, and I think they got Magruder for a hold, trying to fight over a screen. Bruce Weber didn't hesitate in getting him out. Talking about Magruder.
It's Martavius Irving that has come on to replace Magruder. Papa Petru in and out. Tip follow won't go for Ridley. And still a goose egg for Texas.
Two pretty good looks, though. Papa Petru elevating in the paint area. Shane Southwell not going to be able to bother his shot.
Fadeaway air ball from Jordan Enriquez. Here comes Lewis, swooping to the goal. Puts it in. Score the bucket plus the foul. So a chance for a three-point play for Juice Lewis that finally gets Texas on the board.
Bob, this is how you go to the hole, with reckless abandon. Juice Lewis didn't care that Martavius Irving was trying to slide in. He kept his focus on the rim, got there as quick as he could, took the bump, and got the layup to go. That's the way to go to the hole, strong, like your life depends on it.
And Irving, who just came on for Magruder, was called for his first foul.
Interesting use of pressure here. Not too strong. Looks like it's some run and jump, maybe with Papa Petru as he drops back, but Barnes going with a little bit different look here defensively early. It's interesting too, Bob. K-State will do very similar things as Texas in the half-court offense, trying to get their guards off curl screens in the paint.
Southwell, nice shovel pass, and the ball movement sets up the dunk for Jordan Enriquez. How about the touch pass underneath by Martavius Irving? As back the other way, Ridley throws it down off the handoff from Sheldon McClellan.
Well, I guess Cameron Ridley said, "Dunk you very much. You're not going to have all the fun. Big fella running the floor."
Felix called for the second Texas foul.
This is a team that likes each other because they share the basketball quickly, and they don't care who gets the credit. And Cameron Ridley, that's what folks in Austin thought they would be seeing a little bit earlier than now.
Where will the offense come for K-State? The only player that averages double figures is Magruder. There's some offense from Angel Rodriguez. It's a triple from the corner. And that puts Kansas State on top by a bucket.
Angel Rodriguez and Will Spradling are accustomed to picking the scoring up somewhat. So I won't be surprised to see them get more aggressive.
Aaron pass. Irving on the steal. Heads the other way. Hands it off again. Second assist by Martavius Irving for 2 Jordan Enriquez dunks. Papa Petru underneath to Ridley. Just rolls off the front of the rim.
This pace definitely favors Kansas State. They've come out the aggressor here to start the game, especially Jordan Enriquez.
Rodriguez for 3. Comes up short.
Papa Petru's going to have to be more aggressive offensively, Bob.
I think he heard you.
Yeah. He's got the skill set that will allow him to score inside or out. The only thing he's lacking right now is enough confidence to be an aggressor.
Papa Petru averages 7.5 points a game, but he's been over 11 a game in the last 4 for Texas. Jonathan Holmes, of course, injured, out with a broken hand. One of the top few rebounders in the Big 12. Broke his hand against Oklahoma. All of a sudden, it became a dunk fest here in Manhattan.
Well, and Jordan Enriquez getting a man check from Bruce Weber, showing him what he can do here in the first half.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter. And in part by new Oscar Mayer carving board pulled pork. It's game time food. It's Oscar Mayer. And the 2013 Lexus LS and all-new LSF Sport. An entirely new pursuit.
Welcome back to Manhattan, where tonight we've got a Twitter poll for you. If you go to @ESPNCBB, hashtag Big 12 MVP, and answer this question. We're going to put the results up as we go through our game tonight. Who right now is the most valuable player to their team's success in the Big 12? Ben McLemore, Melvin Ejim, Pierre Jackson, or Rodney Magruder for Kansas State? We've got some numbers to put up, the resumes for this group. Again, Big 12 MVP is the hashtag. Tweet us your choice using that hashtag, and we'll take a look at the results as we go through our game tonight. But 4 worthy candidates of being in this debate. I've got Magruder. Stephen Bardo here in enemy territory says.
No, you make some great points about Magruder, and I want to stress, though, it's the player that has to do with his team's success, not the Big 12 MVP.
Right, not the best player, but the most valuable player in the
his team. Yes, to his team.
A push underneath, and that will go, I think, against Kansas State. And it's another foul on Martavius Irving. That's his second. So Irving came on for Magruder. Both of those players now have 2 apiece. And it's only a 2-point game as Magruder continues to sit. Here comes Omari Lawrence. So now Martavius Irving heads to the bench. Bruce Weber's 3 deep on his depth chart at the 2-guard spot.
See, Bob, this is why coaches tell players who may not get a lot of minutes to always be ready, because there's injuries, there's foul trouble. There's going to be a number of different scenarios that take place during the college basketball season for a guy like Omari to come in and make an impact if he's ready. Let's see how he responds with this opportunity.
Missing the finger roll was DeMarcus Holland, but it stays with Texas. All right, so I've got Rodney Magruder in our Big 12 MVP Twitter poll. To me, averaging 15.5 points a game. Yep. No one else on his team even hits double figures, and he's the #1 scorer in Big 12 games. That floater won't go for McClellan. We'll see how his team does with him on the bench. You go in what direction?
I go with Melvin Ejim from Iowa State, because he's a leading rebounder in the Big 12 conference.
Omari Lawrence knocks one down. It's 11-7 Kansas State. Even with all that offense that Iowa State surrounds Ejim with, as now Angel Rodriguez picks up a foul at midcourt.
Iowa State has a lot of offense, Bob, but they are not very big. Yang George, the freshman from Iowa State, is a big fella, but Will Clyburn is really a 3-man playing 4 position. So Melvin Ejim gives them an inside presence that if he's not there, I'm not sure that they would be second in the Big 12 race right now.
All very fair. Another foul called underneath. This will go against Kansas State as well. That will go against Omari Lawrence. So the fouls piling up for the Wildcats. That is 16 fouls with 13:54 to go here in the first half. So Texas will shoot free throws the rest of the way here in the first half. And we talked about how they failed to get to the line in comparison to their opponents. And now Texas turns it over.
Just when you think Texas is in great position because they'll be in the bonus, they make a play like that. And they're so young. They really haven't been here before, and Mike Kabongo's not here on the bench to really try to tell them how to do things. So young club trial by fire here in the Big 12.
Fake, not there for Thomas Gibson. Second try off the feed from Lawrence. Gets it to go.
Crowd doesn't like it, but Thomas Gibson did the right thing. He was strong with the basketball.
McClellan on a curl, a fadeaway is good for Sheldon McClellan.
Ooh, that was Bernard King style back in the day. New York Knicks with the broken knuckles fading out of the paint area. Sheldon McClellan trying to keep his team in it.
Spradling can't hit off the feed from Truck Robinson. I'm sorry, you took me back to the day there for a second. I lost where I was.
Oh, I like that. Ever since Javon Felix scored 26 points at Baylor in their overtime loss at the beginning of the Big 12 conference slate.
McClellan, nice shovel pass underneath to Lammert, but he turned it over. An offensive foul called on Sheldon McClellan. ESPN's Thursday night doubleheader. We go from the Pac-12 and the Big 10. At 7, Illinois takes on number 13, Michigan State. And we head out west at 9 for number 8, Arizona against Washington. The Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Illinois, Michigan State at 7, Arizona, Washington at 9.
Felix going to the bench, and Bob, he's a guy that's capable of scoring in basketball, but he seems to have lost a lot of confidence. Barely looking for a shot in the half-court set.
Rodriguez on the drive, and he draws the foul. Papa Petru called for Texas's 4th team foul here in the first half.
Rodriguez was bailed out that time. He's got a tendency sometimes to over-penetrate and try to make things happen where there's no opportunity. Very fortunate to get bailed out on that foul.
Rodriguez is 4th in the league in assists per game, but he's number 1 in the Big 12 in assists in Big 12 games. He actually averages 6 assists a game in Big 12 play. Here comes Shane Southwell back in the game, replacing Spradling. And Southwell's a great all-everything story, isn't he? They moved him to the power forward spot back earlier this season when they were taking on Florida. And he has gotten a lot of minutes there ever since. Bruce Weber's small team, when I guess you can make an argument, is going with 4 guards, but Southwell plays the 4.
Well, Bruce Weber talked about looking at their schedule, and they were going to be playing teams that played a lot of smaller lineups. And he wanted someone to check Eric Murphy against Florida, and Southwell has come up big, and all you need is a sliver of daylight sometimes.
Holland has it taken away by Southwell. 5 turnovers for Texas.
In Holland's defense, he's really a 2-guard being pressed into the point guard position. And whenever he gets pressured, he goes mano-a-mano, meaning that he's going to go one-on-one if he feels uncomfortable.
Amari Lawrence, an old school floater. Largest lead for Kansas State.
That's a shot that every guard or wing player should develop in their game, Bob. That runner in the paint. You don't take a hit. You take what the defense gives you. It's easy shot to get off in the paint area.
Holland had a floater available, tried to give it up instead to Prince Ebay, and it's a turnover. Southwell, nice find to Gibson, double team. Lammert dives for the loose ball, but it's taken away by Williams. Rodriguez, that floater in the paint won't go. Tapped around in Gibson's hands. Loose on the deck, a scramble for it. Lewis has it. It's a held ball. It will stay with Kansas State. Midway through the first half, a war on the floor here at Bramlage. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, continuing here at Kansas State. Wildcats with a 17-9 lead. They've got 5 assists on 5 made field goals.
A team that likes to play with one another will share the rock. This is what we're seeing from Kansas State early on. Martavius Irving with 2 beautiful feeds to Enriquez, and then that's just 260 pounds. Thomas Gibson getting it done in the paint.
Martavius Irving on the bench with 2 fouls. He replaced Kansas State's leading scorer, Rodney Magruder, who also has 2 fouls. 5 assists on the first 5 buckets of the game for Kansas State, giving them a 17-9 lead. And it's a team that you would think is going to have to share the ball with Magruder on the bench because they don't have that one-on-one scorer that as the shot clock is winding down, they know they can go to when Magruder's out.
Yeah, but one thing that Bruce Weber does very well is they have a motion offense and they run a number of different wrinkles off of it. And so I agree with you. They don't have a guy that can go off the bounce, but they can get good looks within their half-court set if they stay unselfish and share the basketball.
Again, you see the hashtags there. Texas versus KSU. If you'd like to comment on our game on Twitter, but also hashtag Big 12 MVP as we put up 4 candidates earlier. One, of course, Rodney Magruder, who's on the bench right now with 2 fouls for Kansas State. And we will take a look at those results as our game goes on. Melvin Edgem, Pierre Jackson, and Ben McLemore of Kansas, the other candidates in our poll.
It's that motion offense that we're talking about.
Papa Petru called for the foul. That's his second. And Steve, earlier you brought up Melvin Edgem as your choice. I think the great thing about a poll like that too is if you really look at who is the most valuable to their team, I would think Ben McLemore would get a lot of votes. But, and if you're going to have a draft tomorrow, Ben McLemore is going to be the first player taken. He's the most talented of those 4.
No question about
it. Which of those 4 players is the hardest for their team to do without if they lost that guy?
I think it's Melvin Edgem at Iowa State. I mean, Kansas has Withy, Relford. They've got 3 fifth-year seniors. I mean, they've got experience. Kansas State has 4 returning starters along with Magruder. And Pierre Jackson with Isaiah Alston, Corey Jefferson, Brady Heslip. They've got talent hanging off the bone at Baylor, and not that they don't at Iowa State. I just think Edgem means so much to that Cyclone attack.
Very well put. You're wrong. The answer is Magruder, but that is well put. Shot clock down to 8 for the Horns. McClellan pulls up. Air ball. Past the midway point of the first half. 17-9. Kansas State has the lead. Bob Wischusen alongside Stephen Bardo here in Manhattan.
It's a danger zone for Texas, being a team that doesn't score in bunches. They've got to maintain certain closeness in the game for them to be effective.
McClellan double dribble. No question. And he knows as he immediately looked up with a frustrated look at the Raptors. And speaking of a frustrated look, Rick Barnes' team has not been very turnover prone in Big 12 play, but the games that we have done, they have been. Already 7 turnovers tonight. They had 8 turnovers in their first 9 possessions in the loss a week ago Monday at Oklahoma.
Yeah, they just, it's every time Javon Felix comes on the road, it's a new experience for him.
Old school off the glass for Nino Williams.
Nino Williams is an outstanding performer off the bench for Bruce Weber. They are very excited about his contributions, being able to step away from the bucket, but also having a post presence.
Another turnover in the backcourt it goes. Tracked down by Southwell, hands it off to Spradlin. Rick Barnes wants a timeout. We'll step aside for just a moment with Rodney Magruder on the bench. Kansas State extending the lead. They are liking what they are seeing here at Bramlage. The numbers don't necessarily back up the fact that Kansas State owns Texas, but they have owned the first half tonight. A 12-2 run for Kansas State. And Texas has gone without a point for nearly 5 minutes. They are not taking advantage of Rodney Magruder being on the bench in foul trouble. There's been no reason for Bruce Weber to bring Magruder back. Lewis, strong drive, rejected by Enriquez.
Jordan Enriquez was challenged before the game. Their big four, Kansas State's interior performers, have not shown up, but he's definitely there tonight.
eBay can't hit, but an offensive rebound for Bond to the corner. That's no good from Sheldon McClellan.
Nice help defensively by Prince eBay that time. Felix having a difficult time being oversized in his matchup here.
Southwell comes up short. Here's Felix, 2-on-2. Off to McClellan. He can't hit. The putback finally goes for Sheldon McClellan. Texas had fallen to 27% from the field, and Spradling is hurt, and he's bleeding. Will Spradling hit, and he is cut. We'll take a look at what happened to Will Spradling and how seriously he is hurt when we come back. All right, Brant, thanks very much. Will Spradling took an elbow right to the bridge of the nose, and while we were away, went back to the locker room. Kansas State on top by 10. The officials went over to the monitor to take a look, just to make sure that there wasn't an elbow thrown. And right there is the contact, the left elbow by Sheldon McClellan on the nose of Will Spradling, and they quickly determined that that's inadvertent contact and wrong place, wrong time for Spradling.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He come out with a lot of intensity on the defensive end for Kansas State. Someone else is going to have to pick up that level of intensity.
Right on the doorstep, but missing is Gibson. And Rodriguez took a shot to the mouth as well. Angel Rodriguez trying to shake it off as he came up the floor. Now he takes a hard screen from Prince eBay, who rolls in the lane and hands it to Omari Lawrence. Just missing an and one opportunity is Nino Williams, but he'll go to the line, fouled by Jalen Bond.
Kansas State doing an excellent job of getting up the floor, looking for those early opportunities.
Nino Williams with only 4 total points in the last 4 games gets in the scoring column here. And the journey to the tourney is a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. At 9 Eastern, what a matchup Saturday night. Michigan, Indiana, number 1 against number 3. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney at 9 Eastern on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN Saturday night.
You couple that 5 of 17 of Texas with their 8 turnovers, and they're lucky to not be down by 20.
Blocking foul called on Southwell. And now Sheldon McClellan is not getting up. If McClellan can stay in the game, he'll be shooting a 1-and-1. That's team foul number 7 against K-State.
It's like Southwell is trying to close out and just threw a shoulder into the nose or the forehead. Anytime you see a guy squinting like that, typically gets hit in his nose and his eyes water.
We came to Manhattan and saw the Flyers and the Bruins. As McClellan able to stay in the game. He's a hockey player and connect. 17 games in double figures, 4 games with 20+. And Texas trying to draw closer, again, without Rodney Magruder in the game, as McClellan is able to knock some down from the free throw line. Jalen Bond sits back down as Connor Lammer checks back in for Texas. But with Magruder on the bench with 2 fouls, Kansas State has maintained this lead throughout the first half.
They've definitely been the aggressor and not settling for 3-point jumpers. They have committed to getting the ball in the post area, especially with Enriquez early and now Gibson. 2-3 zone by Texas.
Shot clock down to 9. Rodriguez through traffic, way up in the air. The tip follow is good for Thomas Gibson.
Rodriguez got away with the travel there on his shot attempt. And Texas defense scrambling, unable to put a body on the Wildcats. This young man, Juice Lewis, needs to take some of the pressure off McClellan and get aggressive, looking to score.
The ball has not gone inside the three-point line yet. 10 to shoot. Felix misses the layup. That shot may have been deflected. Now losing his balance is Rodriguez, no foul called. And he gets up holding his right wrist.
Now Texas back in the man-to-man defense.
Skip pass that Lewis had no idea was coming. Southwell straight away. Knocks down a three.
Starting to understand why this Kansas State team is pretty thorough. Leading scorer been on the bench for the majority of the first half. You see that run right there they just put on Texas.
A veiled shot at my Big 12 MVP candidate,
not at all.
Rodney Magruder. Yeah, I could hear it in your voice. Picking the pocket of McClellan is Southwell. And he is fouled hard by Felix, and that's a good call by the officials. That'll be 2 in the ball for Kansas State.
Took my breath away a little bit because you don't want to see a player in that situation get injured. It's good to see Shane pop right back up.
Certainly did not look as if Felix was making a play on the ball. And immediately J.B. Caldwell signaled 2 in the ball for Kansas State.
I think he was making a play on the ball. He just couldn't get to it. Watch him try to come over the head for the block, and he gets his arm.
I don't know. That looked to me certainly not an intent to injure flagrant foul, but it looked to me like he was simply grabbing his right arm more than he was trying to make a play on the ball.
I think he was going for the block and just happened to hit his arm on the way down and follow through.
So Felix to the bench. A 16-point lead for Kansas State with Rodney Magruder playing the first 2 minutes, picking up 2 fouls, going to the bench, and it has been a runaway for the Wildcats since.
But Texas just hasn't matched the intensity level, and they should have known that this K-State ball club was going to come out with fire in their eyes because they've lost their last 2.
Southwell, no good this time. Tapped around with the left hand on the offensive glass, trying to put it up and in was Lawrence. He couldn't, but a hustle play by Gibson. A 3 on the way, that's off the mark from Rodriguez. Another offensive rebound, and drawing the foul is Omari Lawrence. And do they love it here in Manhattan? Well, Bram, welcome back now to one of the great college basketball atmospheres here at Bramlage Coliseum. And they are loving the effort of their Kansas State Wildcats. Without their leading scorer, Rodney Magruder, for the majority of the first half on the bench with 2 fouls. The supporting cast has done work. Omari Lawrence now at the free throw line. And he knocks down the front end after hustle all over the offensive glass created these free throws.
You're talking about 5 opportunities because Kansas State just wants it more. They're the aggressors. They're going after it. It won't be denied. Omari Lawrence, we talked about him getting an opportunity off the bench, and he's making the most of it. And when you look at this point spread right now, 15-0. Points off turnovers in favor of Kansas State. That's the difference in the ball game right now.
Bond down the lane, misses it right at the front of the rim, gets his own miss, back outside, and a brick tossed up by DeMarcus Holland. On a run out, Angel Rodriguez can't track down the outlet pass. Only the second first half turnover for Kansas State. But has it been that kind of first half for Texas or what? Jalen Bond gets right to the front of the rim with a wide open opportunity to finger roll. Just can't get it to go down. And now it looks like Omari Lawrence will be called for a foul. That will put Texas at the line. It's a 1-and-1 opportunity. Team foul number 8 against K-State.
Or for a score, when you see a ball go through the net, this may get him going offensively.
And they'll need it. Sheldon McClellan hits the first. ESPN College Basketball, available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. McClellan has 8 of Texas's 15. But this is a Texas team that only averages 64.5 points a game.
Look at their numbers. They're not shooting the ball particularly well, but 10 turnovers on the road against a ranked opponent. That's just not what you want if you're Rick Barnes.
Rodriguez for 3. In and out. And this time winning the battle for the loose ball was Connor Lammert. DeMarcus Holland tries to go coast to coast and makes a layup.
You got a glimpse of why Rick Barnes is high on this young man right here. Is a gym rat, loves to work on his game, and is very athletic and has great length to guard position.
That's 2 big bodies going up against one another in the post. Gibson spins around Ridley. And 1 for Thomas Gibson. Exactly what Rick Barnes told us this season so far for Ridley has been his problem. Getting beaten to the spot by quicker players at this level.
Yeah, it's going to take him a while to get adjusted. He hadn't been playing basketball that long. Was a football player. Decided to stop playing football because people kept coming at his knees as he got taller. So, you know, he's still learning on the job, and it's tough to get a big fellow with that much upside, talking about Ridley, and trying to guard a guy like Gibson, who's considerably shorter and stronger and quicker.
Rick Barnes earlier today said we're always trying to talk about fighting for your place on the floor, fighting for your piece of real estate. And after their weekend this past weekend, they on Monday, after the Oklahoma game last week, I guess that was Tuesday, brought Cameron Ridley and Prince Ebay into the gym, and they said they just put racks of basketballs underneath the rim and had them take a ball off the rack, drop step, and dunk it. Drop step, make a layup, working on feet quickness and getting to a certain spot. Holland lost it, and it's taken away by Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a lob, Gibson with a finish. We'll check that Lawrence with a finish.
Omari Lawrence is going to come up big again at some point in this season for Kansas State. When you come into the game and have this type of effect, and your team is playing some of their best basketball in the first half, that's going to bode well for the Wildcats moving forward.
McClellan fades away. Offensive rebound for Ridley. Lost it. Some contact, no call. It's on the floor. A timeout called from the Kansas State bench, but they'll say that the ball belongs to Texas before the timeout was called.
Oh, mad scramble down there, and I thought Ridley was going to be able to finish. It looks like he lost his footing there, and Lammert was able to come up with it. Lawrence out of bounds with the basketball.
30-second timeout, Kansas State.
30-second timeout called by Kansas State with just over a minute to go here in the first half. So for Texas, they got Rodney Magruder in foul trouble in the first 2 minutes, and they have not gotten anything going offensively. Magruder played the first couple of minutes. If I would have told you you're Rick Barnes, you get to halftime, and the leading scorer in the Big 12, in Big 12 games, would not have made a field goal. Would you have thought that this would have been the score?
No, because, you know, the thing that's been the difference is the points off turnovers and the turnovers for Texas. They have done a much better job recently of taking care of their basketball, and Kansas State forcing them into some bad situations and taking advantage with that balance on the offensive end.
J.B. Caldwell with a calm down warning to Amari Lawrence and Julian Lewis. We got the update, by the way, on Will Spradling. He does have a broken nose, and he was actually listed as questionable to return in the second half. Again, missing a bunny was Sheldon McClellan. Rodriguez, floater, no good. Offensive rebound again. Amari Lawrence can't hit. The tip follow won't go, but a third try finally does.
Texas is getting manhandled in the glass. You just saw McClellan and Lewis fall down on their defensive rebound assignments. They've got to be much stronger than this. Texas guys are falling all over the court right now.
McClellan, tough shot, draws a foul. Even more work on the offensive glass being done by K-State.
This is, we're just going to beat you up, and we're going to put the ball on the rim, and we're going to go get it, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's pretty much what has happened here in the first half with Kansas State. You know, if you're a Longhorn fan, it's painful to watch, because you know this young team has a lot of upside, but when you get behind this much on the road to a good team like Kansas State, doubt starts to creep into the back of their minds about whether they can cut into this lead. High screen and roll for Rodriguez to try to create. He needs to go now.
Clock down to 8. Rodriguez skips one to Southwell. The game clock down to 3 seconds. Southwell pulls up, can't hit, but still a terrific ending to the first half for Kansas State. Unless a foul was called as the ball came off the rim. They might have gotten Southwell for a foul.
I think they did.
Southwell's halfway up the tunnel, heading back to the Kansas State locker room. And will these be untimed free throws for Texas? That would put Kansas State up to 10 team fouls here in the first half. It'd be an automatic double bonus, and they'll take a look and see if the clock.
It was pretty clear.
Was at zeros.
It was pretty clear, the foul. I mean, you know, there's no doubt about that.
If the call stands, the foul would be Southwell's third. And right now, Mike Stewart, Bert Smith at the replay monitor in midcourt to see. Watch the clock atop the backboard. The foul occurs right there, and it looks like there's a 1/10 of a second still on the clock.
I think there
when
is.
Southwell committed the foul.
And what was Shane Southwell thinking? Like he was going to steal the ball and score before the half was over? You know, that's the beauty of college basketball. You ask the players what were they thinking, they don't know.
They're going to put 0.2 seconds back up on the clock, and they're going to shoot 2 free throws at the other end for Texas. That's the 10th team foul against Kansas State. So it's an automatic 2 free throws for the Longhorns. About the only thing that Bruce Weber's team has done badly here in the first half. Cameron Ridley will get a chance to shoot free throws. He's a 38% free throw shooter on the season. But Southwell does indeed pick up his 3rd foul.
So Southwell has 3. Irving has 2. And Magruder has 2. We'll have to keep an eye on that coming out of the first half break.
There's some confusion at the scorer's table right now as to whether or not that was the 9th team foul or the 10th team foul called against Kansas State here in the first half. The scoreboard still reads 9 fouls, but we had it as 10, and it looks like now, as we said earlier, they have made it officially 10 team fouls against Kansas State, so they got the number right, and it is an automatic 2 for Cameron Ridley. So he missed the first, but he will indeed shoot the second. And he'll miss that one too. So one team towards the top of the Big 12, ranked 18th in the country. The other team 1-5 in the Big 12, and we'll let you be the judge based on the scoreboard which team is which. Bram Weinstein, Jay Williams, the Land Rover halftime report.